Hey YouTube, it's Louise. I thought I'd shoot a video on some of the things that I use to keep my hands and feet warm in the wintertime in extreme cold. So of course everyone knows about hand and toe warmers. And I'll give you a little tip that, let's say you're only out for a couple of hours and these last up to 6 hours. What you can do is you can put them in a Ziploc bag, squeeze all the air out, and that pauses the chemical reaction. And then you can sometimes take them out and use them a second time. I find that works especially well for the hand warmers, not so much for the toe warmers. Now these are an amazing secret weapon. What they are is they're battery operated motorcycle gloves. And I use these for downhill skiing and for mountain biking. I wouldn't use them for hiking and snowshoeing for a couple reasons. One of them is I think they'd be too hot. Second of all, they're quite pricey, so if you drop one on the ground, it's very expensive as compared to just losing an inexpensive glove or mitten. And they're rechargeable, so they use lithium batteries, which are just stored in this little chamber. They're quite small. Let's see if I can get this out. So you just recharge those. You do have to be careful because this brand of battery is sometimes spontaneously flammable. Lipo is what their nickname is. So what I do is I got an inexpensive fire blanket or welding blanket, and when I'm storing them and when I'm charging them, I just wrap them in there in the gloves. And if they did spontaneously ignite, at least they're not going to catch anything else that's nearby on fire. I sometimes wear battery operated socks. They're fairly affordable. I got these at Canadian Tire quite a few years ago for about $30. Now they're really bulky, so again, I wouldn't wear them hiking or snowshoeing unless I had them in my Sorel type boots maybe, because those are really large and they have lots of room. But I find they're really nice for cross-country skiing when it's really cold. My cross-country ski boots are a little bit loose, and I just tried them out today with my winter hiking boots. For mountain biking, and even though they were a little snug, they definitely kept my toes warm, so not bad for the price. There's the little chamber where the batteries fit in, and they're a little bulky on the outside of your leg. They come up, partway on your calf, but I just have a loose overpant on top of that, so I don't really notice them, and it's fine. They even fit under my cycling pants. And I just wanted to show here, I've turned them inside out because the wire is mainly in the toe area, so it's not, in the heel or in the rest of the sock. But those are the parts of your feet that generally get the coldest. Because these are really thick and they're a wool blend, they seem to keep your feet warm otherwise, even when the batteries are turned off. Okay, and then on my head, I often wear a headband, and then I have a toque that I wear on top of that. I'll wear a neck gaiter, either a buff or this one's fleece when it's colder. I find the buffs are often really loose, and so they don't stay up when you want them to, and this fleece neck gaiter does a better job. Speaking of gaiters, these are wrist gaiters. Oh, I shouldn't turn the screen like that. And I just made them out of the sleeves of an old wool sweater. Just cut little holes for my thumbs, and I put those underneath my gloves and things like that, just to warm my arteries as they're going into my thumb. That sometimes helps a little bit. And I also have a really thin pair that I made out of a pair of old socks, old polyester socks that I wear when I'm downhill skiing. So layering is key. If I'm not using these guys, and let's say I'm going for a hike or a snowshoe, then I would probably have 3 layers in my mittens, and then I can just take them off whenever I want. So sometimes I take snow mittens, like sort of ski mittens that are, an insulated mitten, and I have dummy strings on them. And I'll have this really thin liner glove, and then I'll have the snow mittens. But this is a nice layering system as well. So this middle layer is a boiled wool mitten that I made myself, and I did make a video on that, so you can just check that out. And then this is just a really thin leather glove that just goes on top just to give you extra water repellency and a little bit of windproofness. Although, quite frankly, with the hand warmers, all you need is the liner glove and the outer boiled wool mitten. And wool is naturally water repellent, so unless it's pouring rain, this mitten alone is going to keep, the moisture off of your hands, the snow and that kind of thing. And I just, here they are all sort of layered together. So I made sure when I got the leather mitten that I got the largest size I could. And when I made these myself. When I made these boiled wool mittens, I made them large as well. So that the key is that you have lots of air space between your layers, as you know.